Okay. Hi everybody, thank you for coming. So, my name is Vieux, it's Vieux on Twitter, IRC, GitHub, so if you have questions after, feel free to reach me. So, I'm one of the 5 guys working at the engine of Docker. But tonight I will talk about the whole platform, so the engine, the hub of what are the features we launched recently and what would be the future of those. Let's start by some numbers. So DockerCon, it's when we released Docker 1.0, was a month and a half ago. And since this date, the numbers are crazy. So the number of pulls on the hub like doubled in a month and a half. So it's crazy. The push and repositories are growing more than 50% up. So everybody is using Docker more and more, and it's great because it's because of the community that we can make such a great product. So let's start by what's it new in the engine. So what feature did we add recently? The first one, as of this afternoon, we finally moved the GitHub repository from the .cloud organization to Docker. So it was a big change. If you are a contributor, you probably need to change your remotes to Docker/Docker. If you had open pull requests, you may want to check them to see if they need rebase, because we had to change lots of stuff in the code base. But yeah, it's something we wanted to do for a long time, and we finally took the time to do it, so it's great. Thanks. Also, we merged Docker pause and Docker unpause. So that's 2 new commands to the Docker CLI that uses a cgroup freezer. Basically, when you pause a container, it will freeze the process inside this container. So there will be no memory usage, no CPU, no I/O, so it's completely freezed. So pause and pause is great. And that's even more great, it's that we added the pause automatically on Docker commit. So before, when you did a Docker commit of a running container, you could have some issues because we were trying to save the container while some files were overwritten or stuff like that. Now we added the pause automatically. So that's great, you can commit a running container and it's perfectly safe. We also added some network strategies. So it's you use them by using --net on Docker run. Right now we have 4 networking strategy, but we have more strategies are coming. The first one, it's a default one that we have since a long time. It's a bridge strategy. So by default, when you start the Docker daemon, it will create a bridge, and each time you start a container, the container will have an IP on this bridge, attached to this bridge. So the inter-container communication is used through this bridge. So in this strategy, if you do a if config inside the container, you see you have, of course, the loopback interface, and also in your ETH0 interface, you see the bridge, an IP on the bridge, so starting by 172. So that's a private address only on the bridge. The other strategy is the host networking. So it was a huge feature request also. You can now put the whole network stack of your host inside one container. So if you do a Docker run with --net equal host, so if your host has multiple interface, you will see all the interface in your container. So in this example, you see still the loopback. For the ETH0, now I have my host IP, my external IP, and also I see the bridge I talked earlier, so you can do funky stuff. But the host networking strategy is really great because when your application and container is really network consuming, if you put them in host networking, there is absolutely no overhead because there is no bridge, not anything. So yeah, your container speaks directly to the host interfaces, and it's really fast. The third one, it's really powerful. So this strategy allows you to share the network stack of a container into another one. So a small example, maybe it will be clearer. If you start a container that I name C1 based on the Ubuntu image, and I listen on my loopback interface on the port 80, I can start another container and say --net equal container column the first one. And then if I write on my loopback interface on the second one, it will appear on the first container. It's because both containers use the same loopback interface and the same network stack. So it's really great because it's not the same usage, but it's like host, there is no overhead at all. So if you want to start, I don't know, a Redis container, for example, you can listen on 127.0.0.1, and your front-end container, you just use the same network stack, and then you can talk to your Redis without any overhead. So that's a really, really powerful feature. And the last strategy is much simpler. It's just none to disable completely networking in the container. If you do if config, you see only the loopback interface. So we have lots of docs around that, and you can take a look at the docs. But basically, that's for now the 4 strategies we have. We also merged .docker ignore, so it looks like git ignore. So alongside your Docker file, you can have a Docker ignore file when you can skip some directories. A good example, in most of the times you don't need the .git folder when you build, so you can just put your .git folder inside the .git ignore, and it will be the part when we upload the context to the daemon will be much faster. We also added the copy instruction in the Docker file. So if you follow a bit GitHub and the issues and everything, you may know that the add we have, it's difficult because it has some magic inside it. So the basics was to add a file from your context to your image, but if you add a URL, it will download it automatically. If you add a tarball, it will untar it. And we had some issues at some point. It changed everything, so we added a copy instructions that do only copy, and that works great. So if you don't need all of those features, if you don't need to download stuff from the internet or untar tarballs or anything, please use copy. When we merged the copy instruction, we updated all our docs to put copy instead of add. So yeah, if you don't need a basic, if you only need a basic copy, please use copy because it's much better. We also added tons of other improvements. The changelog, it's at the bottom. It's really long, but just to speak of some of them, we improved the performance and stability a lot. One of our coworker, Christian, did a great job on the trunk index, for example. So that's the part in the code that gave you the small random IDs you have per container. So he did a great job. Now it's much faster, and starting tons of containers is much faster. Same if you want, let's say, the 10 last lines of your Docker logs. Before you had to go through the whole logs and do some sort of shell stuff. Now you can just tail your log with the --tail we added to the Docker logs command. Also, you can bind mount your whole file system into the container. So it was a request. So some people use it, I don't, but yeah. Now you can use / as the source of your volume, so it's possible. We also added filters to some of the CLI commands, for like image, for example. You can know Docker image --filter and only display, for example, the untagged images. So that's great when you want to clean up your Docker installations. And small other changes. We added force remove. So on Docker build, we had a new flag to remove every container, even if the build failed. It removes the containers, and we improve the testing framework and the code coverage. So it's great because, at least in those features, I think half of them were not developed by Docker Inc. It was developed by the community. for sure Docker logs were developed by the community, the filter also. And that's great because if you want to improve Docker, just go to GitHub. Before starting to code, you just write a nice proposal. So you ask before to see if you have a chance to get merged, and if it's good, you can just go ahead and yeah, the community of Docker is really great. We have lots of pull requests merged every day, and that's really great. So now what's new in the hub? So I'm in the engine team, so I won't get too much into details for the hub, but some guys from the hub team are over here, so feel free to ask them questions. So first we introduced organizations and groups. Great way to share your Docker builds between your coworkers. So you can either create an organization or if your company already had a Docker account, you can convert your user into an organization. And inside this organization, you can create groups like the QA group, the dev group. So that's really, really useful. Also, we added Bitbucket support, so Git and Mercurial. So you can now do an automated build from Bitbucket repositories. At the same time, we announced private repositories and private automated builds. So if you have a private Bitbucket account, repositories or a private GitHub repositories, you can now make an automated build out of it, and it will be private. So you get one free private repo if you sign into hub.docker.com if you want to try the feature. It works really great. We also added official repositories. So before we had like 5 or 6 official repositories. It was just distribution like CentOS or Ubuntu or Debian, but that was it. Now we have official repositories for supported software. You have an official Redis image, and we make this image, we make sure it works great, and he has great support, and it's always up to date. As soon as Redis will be updated, the official image will be updated as well. So yeah, if you need a Redis image, go for this one, because we make those images thinking you will do a from this image, or you will reuse this image. So yeah, if you have the official repo, you should really use this one. And lastly, we also added the console. So now when you log into the hub, at first you see the state of your repositories. You see the number of pools, the number of stars you have really easily. You also see like the repository you've started or you've contributed, and your activity feed. So this console, it's your profile. It's everybody can see it. You can see profile from another user, so it's great when you want to know on what somebody is working on, pushing, on pulling. You can take a look at his activity feed, and it's great. Now, what will be next in the Docker engine? So I want to talk about some features we already merged in master, but that were not released, or features that will be merged at some point. First, it's fine-grained control over capabilities. So we can say that the capabilities, it's a set of kernel actions. For example, you have capabilities called mknode, that if you have these capabilities, you can do an mknode, you can create a device. If you don't have these capabilities, you can't. So to do containers and isolation, by default, Docker defines a whitelist of capabilities that you can use, and all the others are dropped. That's one way of doing containers. To do our Docker containers, we use capabilities and namespaces and C groups. But yeah, one part is capabilities. So before, we had only two choices: the default whitelist, or use -- privileged, and in privileged mode, you get all the capabilities. So it's really insecure, and we don't recommend to run in privileged your production server, because basically it's the same as being on your host. You don't have any containerization or isolation. In the next release, we will introduce --cap add and drop to just add or remove one capability. Just a few examples. The first one, let's say you want to change the status of one network interface. Instead of using -- privileged, you just do cap add netadmin, and after you can do like ip-link eth0 done. It will work. But yeah, so basically you can choose exactly what you want. And if you want to be, I don't know, more secure or more restrictive, you could even remove capabilities from the one we put in the whitelist. So for example, if you, I don't know why you want to do that, but if you want to remove the ch-own, prevent any ch-own on your container, you can just do cap drop cap ch-own, and you will have the same container as usual, but without the ch-own, without the ability to do a ch-own. You can combine all those flags. So if you want, I don't know, all capabilities, but you don't want to be able to create a device, you can just do a cap add equal all and cap drop mknode. And in that case, we have everything but mknode. The other feature I want to talk about, it's related. It's around devices. Before you could use devices if you weren't privileged, and if you bind mount your device into your container. So with -- privilege and -v, I don't know, dev snd column dev snd, you were able to use the devices sound, but again, it was privileged, it was not recommended and not safe. The next release, we will add --device flag. So basically it's the same way you do docker run device and you put your device, and you will be able to have the device inside the container without being privileged. So that's two great additions that allows you to do more things with inside Docker containers without having to be like privileged and open to the world. So it's great. Both of those features are already merged in master, so for sure there will be in the next release, the next like 1.2. The third topic I want to talk about is not merged yet and not completely done yet, but it will come soon. It's remote volume. It's one of the biggest issues we have on Docker. So today how our volumes work, it's a bind mount. So when your client and your daemon are on the same machine, it works great, but if it's different machine, it doesn't work. So if you have your client on OS X and your daemon in bootlocker in a VM, it can't work. But soon we will introduce remote volumes. So at first it will use Fuse. You won't have to install anything on your host. It will be everything inside the client and the server, and it will work fine. So all of this work was started by a member of the community around DockerCon, and he finally gave us the code back, the basics. So we are just plugging it together, and it should be out really soon. If not in the next release, I guess it will be in the next one. I'm done. Do you have some questions? Yeah.
Will there be like any preliminary announcement of the free stuff if it's not in the next release, so like people can test it? Because I imagine there's probably a lot of testing.
Yeah, there is a lot of testing. So in this URL, in this branch, it's a working proof of concept. So it's not done yet because every volumes will be Fuse. Even if on the same machine, it will still use Fuse. But yeah, it's working. You can try to use it, and you can contribute also, for sure. Okay, I think I'm done.
Nice.
Cool.
So I was sitting on the front row, so I think I'll just talk since I was sitting there. Before I get plugged in, so my name's Evan Brown, and I work for Amazon Web Services on the Elastic Beanstalk and CloudFormation teams. So thanks to everyone at Docker for having me over tonight. I'm excited to talk to you guys about a few things, and more importantly, kind of do some demos and take questions. We will be sending out an email, I think sometime this week, to everyone with a $50 AWS credit. So kind of the stuff that we look through. If you haven't used AWS before, or even if you have, you can apply it to your account and get going. So